A Tale in Purple, starring Roman. Intro. Narrator Anruda Zith. Guests: King Purple, Dude Man Nude, Simon Belmonte, Jacob Reese Zith, Rachel, Hermes, Loft. Setting: Redacted, Washington. Intro. Oh, hello. I see you have arrived a little early this evening. Why, must be barely even 1 a.m. Anruda breaks script. Hey, Roman. Roman resumes. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I forgot where I was for just a moment. Anruda glares. Oh, okay. Tonight's story is, well, so far I don't know. It really could end up any old way since it is written in the vein of Lovecraftian horror. So brace for potential profanity, nudity, possible urban and ritual fucking, maybe even the such that it mounts an entire existential crisis. Ramen looks over. Anruda answers. Ah, yes. I'd say that's about right. Ramen finishes. Oh, okay. Then, without further ado, let's begin tonight's story.
A Tale in Purple. I don't for a moment expect you to believe any of the story I'm about to tell you. You shouldn't anyways, as if I had fictionalized most of it as per standard operating protocol for agents of certain agency you may have heard of without even realizing it. Days Foundation operates in a sort of open secret, shrouded normalcy sort of situation. This is because going into the future it has become more than fairly obvious that the old definition of normalcy was going to have to be redefined anyway. Too many and increasing strategies of how to keep all the anomalies under wraps and all of that. I can tell you the longs of it, but in this case I figured the short will do basically to address society as a whole. To set a new definition, the truth had to be told gradually through fiction. And also on the long and short of it, exactly why I have such a blatant fucking attitude about it. Well, anyway, my name's CJ Pickett, which of course is not my real name, but close enough honestly. You could spin on it like it, right about from where you're standing. Enough fiddle-faddle though, let me get right to it. My specialty is scouting the big one. Anomalies, I mean. Christ, kid, are you even paying attention? Keep up, will ya? Now you see, this is exactly why I work alone. We're dealing with fucking complicated shit. It's much easier to slip in and out by yourself. And if the shit really hits the fan, it's only you've got to get out. Now I ain't dumb. I don't just run blind to any old anomaly appears on the map. No, that would be F-word stupid. Oblivious, obviously, you must be. There are many that would simply be a death sentence, but there are some that are bizarre, tame enough that the initial intel indicates a person with my particular sphere of expertise could do quite a lot to better our chances against the thing. So here I am. Being there are several ways to enter Redacted, Washington, it made the most sense for me to approach from the north. Easiest way in down from, well, you don't even know the exact city I live in, so we'll just call it Seattle and leave it at that. But down from the freeway, it's right in over flat dry land, and from the look of it, quite a few good old ways out should the proverbial shit turn into splatter and hit the proverbial fan. If I come to compare it to any place I could think of, it reminded me greatly of Indiana. Amazingly flat for quite a ways looking. The town seemed rather unassuming and plain. A few minutes within its boundaries, I spotted an old feed store next to an old decommissioned train track. and not a block from there, next to a park full of tall trees and the tiniest public square you could possibly think of, a mural was painted of the same, feed store and the old train traveling past it. Must have been important in some bygone era. I mused aloud. I came into town in the early daytime as I wanted to find a safe lodging above street level before nightfall. Also, as indicated in the preliminary reports, you don't want to stay in redacted Washington for more than a week. Why? Well, rumor has it that if you stay more than a week, well, you become a permanent resident. It's supposed to come with a free helping of eternal life also, but again, preliminary reports. If at all possible, I would like to confirm that because little tidbits like that lead to raises and promotions in the outfit that I work for. I heard that a lot of other potentially alarming rumors also, which is why, for the first night at least, I wanted lodgings with a high window, at least several stories above the ground, as I have it on good authority that this place turns fucking purple at night. I was already getting a little antsy. All the streets in this town were wide and airy. Don't get me wrong, these open lanes are very nice and everyone hates fucking traffic congestion, but these streets were fucking shining, like fucking regal even, and clearly this town had a surprisingly bustling population, but there was no one driving. I mean, like, hardly anywhere at all. And the castle walls, everywhere. But often randomly in ways that don't seem to make any friggin' sense. Like, an entrance to a freeway shooting to the east, except there was one right across one of the lanes, making it look super dangerous to even attempt driving in that direction. Decided to cut to the right, due west toward downtown where I was headed anyway. It was still pretty early. And this even though I had been driving around for a couple hours, just getting the lay of the land. Everywhere in the city, just little pockets of posh, nice neighborhoods. Then wide, untamed swaths of flat, swampy farmland, floodplain, in between the little bitty burgs. The place wasn't as flat as I thought at first, though. In the southeastern expanse, it rose to an elevation a fair bit above sea level, in what appeared to be one of the older parts of town. Same slopes seemed to roll all the way to the southwestern part of the town, where it eased into a steady flat plain like most of the rest of the city proper. There are a few other things that I much intend to avoid, at least until I get my bearings, like the red doors on the Low River Road. Yeah, it makes me shiver just thinking about that. I already confirmed one of my suspicions. Early videos of redacted Washington pre-1930s show a gigantic, bustling metropolis, like even more than redacted across the water. A great fire burned most of the place down sometime between 1919 and 1930, although information about that is very sparse. And what's more, for a gigantic, bustling metropolis that supposedly burned down, it sure didn't leave any remnants that I could see anywhere. Fucking weird. I said aloud as I drove around the tiny town area a few hours, just seeing what's where. I declined to take up residence inside of an oddball, dated circular tower that looked more like a sad converted apartment building and quite frankly looked more than a little scary and quite possibly anomalous. I decided at last to get a room at the Hilton. There are many good reasons for this. One, it was decidedly modern and normal looking. There were cars driving to and from the area normally, as well as there were a measurable amount of patrons in the restaurants and bars. After getting a room on the 4th floor, I decided to wander around the hotel a few times to make sure it was good and normal. It sure was. That being true, I briefly wandered outside and just glanced at the nearby park from the outskirts, as it was getting pretty late afternoon already, and I wanted to be up in my room to observe the nighttime from the safety of my hotel window and collect data before setting out cautiously the next evening to have a closer look. Don't plan on staying here any longer than 5 days, not even gonna risk finding out the whole permanent residence thing is true. Spend the next few hours in the bar, having a few old fashions, staring at the TV and BSing with the locals. When nightfall came, I paid my tab and hurried up to my room. I had been feeling a bit adventurous, honestly, often a stupid idea in my line of work, and decided not to wait for the elevator. Took the stairs up instead. It wasn't much of a room. A small, good enough to get what you needed done, But it did have what I wanted, which was a window, a big one, facing toward the new waterfront, which, as per initial reports, was thought to be one of the most concentrated beds of anomalous activity. As I walked up to the window, I was completely taken aback by what I saw. Well, holy malarkey, the damn place does really turn bright screaming purple at night. I said aloud. End part 1.